Stitch Gang Part 3. We got Tyrone, the Paul Rosenberg of the Stitch Gang.
Oh, dude.
Frank,
I don't know if that's good or not because you don't like
the
him.
rich homie Quan of Stitch Gang. And there's no Young Thug. I know. I don't like Paul Rosenberg. Wait, is Paul Rosenberg? He's on the. It's the same dude who's on the Eminem skits. Because I was listening to the Paul Rosenberg skits. That's the same dude.
I'm not sure. I don't really listen to Eminem. I haven't listened to him in some time.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same guy. Well, you're a fan, so I thought he would influence your broadcast style. So.
Oh, I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Not trying to insult you.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy the Juan Epstein podcast.
So we're doing our problematic bastards of rap roundup, just to get it all out of the way. They don't deserve their own individual episodes. I personally didn't adhere to the no Spotify rule because it was way too hard to download this mixtape and put it on my phone like old school.
Yeah. That's how I acquire my music. Actually, I don't stream all that much, mainly because up until recently I had a very, very limited data plan, so I would just download everything and then put it on my phone. But your boy's a streaming guy now, but I did download this so I could have it on my iPod and my phone.
Well, you can download on Spotify.
I think on premium. I don't pay for premium, dude.
Oh, right.
Man.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have my friend's premium, and he literally went to Bangladesh a year ago and disappeared. Like, I haven't heard from him.
Oh,
He's off the grid, but I'm still on his premium plan. So I don't know what to expect. Like, maybe one day I'll get cut off and I'll know he like died in I don't know, fighting for Maoists in India or something. Because I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's a farmer now. But some reason it must be billing to his credit card, and maybe it's just building his fucking balance $10 a month at a time, and
maybe he's trying to build credit. You never know.
Yeah. So actually, I was taking my Spotify premium for granted. I forgot that was a premium feature.
Would you really expect anybody to criticize you based upon your listening to these?
Well, no, it's just that they're problematic individuals, and so they're still getting booked to festivals like Rolling Loud. I guess like XXX Tentación was like booked to, and Bodak Klack was booked to it too, but then he couldn't get permission to go or something. Spotify is basically just a huge data collection service. I mean, they make a lot of their money from ads and premium, but the way a lot of these companies make money too is also selling their data. And I think that's like, part of the appeal, part of like how people are trying to use streaming. So I feel like, they see more streams are, good for artists. So it is a way to support them, even if it's just like an infinitesimal amount.
Yeah, I'm definitely going rogue and not supporting any of these guys. So
yeah, you actually went by the rules that I set, and then I didn't go by them.
And I'm not giving any of these nerds SoundCloud plays.
Does the SoundCloud play like get people money? I don't even know.
I don't know. Well, because they don't really have, and that's why I like SoundCloud. They don't really have ads. At least nothing I've seen outside of the website. Because I have the app on my phone and they have ads, but it's more or less advertising SoundCloud, whatever premium services they have, and they have little ads in the app itself, but outside of that, I don't.
Yeah, I think they make their money from the artists, because you need to upload like more than 10 tracks. You need premium or something.
Oh, I didn't know.
So we're talking Project Baby 2 by Bodak Klack, and just the entire oeuvre of XXX Tentación, aka Sex Temptation, aka Vin Diesel Tentación.
Are those real aliases?
No, I just made those up.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, I figured maybe XXX Tentación actually stood for something, but it apparently doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know if he has any AKAs. His Twitter nickname is Makeout Hill.
Huh.
I don't know what that is about.
Maybe it's like a Taking Back Sunday reference or something.
He would make a Taking Back Sunday reference.
Yeah, there's a lot of tracks on his his like debut album that would suggest he probably would.
Yeah. So we wanted to go through these two. Leave it here. We won't tag them. We won't promote them.
I won't even screenshot my music app listening to them. How about that?
The first I heard of Tentacion was the famous tweet by Eric Andre now, where he says, hip hop, you have to start supporting artists like Bodak Klack and XXX Tentacion. And I guess I was kind of like, all right. I mean, I don't listen to that second guy, Bodak Klack. I just started listening to him. I thought he got off on the rape charges, and I didn't investigate it. So I was like, hey, man, he got off. What am I going to do? You know, like, but he's still waiting trial for it. He's actually not off.
Yeah, he was indicted early last month in October. So, and he's got quite the rap sheet. I mean, I found a complex article that outlined his criminal history. And I mean, it's mainly like weed possession, fleeing police. I think there's a gun charge in there somewhere. He's been absolved of those, and not so much absolved, but he's been bailed out and he's free. Well, he was free, and then he violated parole.
He admits to violating parole on this album, which is not a great move.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, and I just don't understand how you don't know that you're on house arrest and you shouldn't be doing any of these things. But he's a street guy.
Well, he knew he was on house. I mean, he knew he was on. He did it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, see, yeah, they say that he's.
Well, one of his house arrest violations was he went to Cleveland to accompany. I think it was Zab Judah. It was Adrian Broder.
No, he walked out with Adrian Broner in Cincinnati,
and it was a violation of parole. But they tried to argue that it was a promotional appearance. What do you make of that argument?
Ugh. Well, I mean, I think the stipulation of his parole was that he had to be approved for, was it 1/2 hour before and after approved employment. So, I mean, I guess that could be considered it, but I imagine you would have to get approval, and I'm sure that there's a process involved with that. Fortunately, I haven't had my run-in or need to, be on house arrest, but that's my understanding based upon this article that I'm reading currently. So
one funny thing is that I always thought that, like, rappers who, they put their life on these tracks. Gucci has this line. He says, "You can't mute me. My whole life on Pro Tools." It's kind of like that. And I always thought, like, Bodak Klack he did something heinous. And how do you come back from that? I always thought that if he admitted that he was wrong and that there was something wrong with him for doing this on a track, I always thought it would be kind of interesting, because I don't think many people have done that for sexual assault. Maybe they've said they're wrong for, killing someone or fictionally or stabbing someone. But apparently a condition of his bond was that he wouldn't comment on it in social media or in print or anywhere. So he actually can't talk about it.
Ah, interesting.
So actually when he got booked for that rape charge, he flew back from North Carolina and immediately recorded "There He Go," which is probably his best song. When he's talking about getting off the plane, that's like getting off the plane from North Carolina because I got arrested for rape. It's just like a different perspective on that song.
I'm out, but I was charged with rape. Yo.
So yeah, and then we're covering Tentacion, who you were just reading the article about his abusive ways, right?
Totally fucking awful.
Yeah.
And I'm not as conflicted with Tentacion because I don't enjoy a lot of his recorded output. So, I mean, which is fucked up to say, right? Because neither of these guys have done anything to possibly redeem any of the awful things they've done. Bodak Klack doesn't speak to any of the charges or his wrongdoings in the past. Aside from the rape. I mean, he doesn't mention the rape at all, but Tentacion in the track on Project Baby 2 does mention, the last time he wifed a bitch, she told the world I beat her. Him talking about it, and I mean, well, and that's the thing, right? Is that you would think that addressing it and maybe making an attempt to explain and sympathize would help, but I mean, I guess when it comes to that point, it's like, what do you do? Like, it's hard to justify liking either of these guys' recorded output. I mean, and with Tentacion, like I mentioned, it's like I don't like him. I don't think he's that great. I mean, he's weird, but like Bodak Klack, prior to everything coming out, it's just like he's had a very, very solid recorded output. I mean, like we were talking beforehand, I mean, Skirt is probably one of the better songs I've heard.
One of the better songs you've heard ever?
I mean, one of the better. I mean, well, frankly, like I don't know. Like we were talking about, he's got a lot of introspective stuff going on, and it's one of the better like songs in his discography.
It's an amazing song. Yeah, it's really great. I was really, I mean, that There He Go and damn, I forgot the other one because I spent like a month listening to Bodak Klack, and then actually after the R. Kelly shit came out about his like sexual cult and preying on young women, I was kind of like, you know what? Like, we already knew he was a creep, and people were still going to his concerts. Like, people like didn't care and like swept it under the rug. Like, we can't keep like supporting these dudes and ignoring it and just pretending like it's not there. So I stopped listening to him completely. And I would hear when after Project Baby came out, I would hear snippets of it like on Instagram and in the Froyo shop, and I'd be like, "Oh fuck, that sounds so good! I want to listen to it. I want to listen to this new Bodak shit." And I was like, "Nope, I won't listen to it." And then XXX Tentacion, I never listened to. I actually the first I
You went on a listening spree, man, for this episode. You went on a Tentacion listening spree.
I did. I did a deep dive. I went through the whole SoundCloud, which is pretty interesting output. So yeah, let's start with Project Baby 2. It's amazing rapping. We were talking a month or two ago on Twitter. I think Nas called Bodak Klack the best rapper alive, and we were arguing over whether he might be kidding or not. And I was like, no, he's probably not kidding. He's an amazing rapper. And this kind of seals it. I mean, the nothing rises to the level of There You Go or Skirt, like on a sort of like pop basis, or Tunnel Vision even. That was the third song I was thinking of. Those are like,
oh, an amazing song, and
yeah,
I hate saying it. I hate saying.
I mean, he's amazing. He's great. Yeah. He's a great rapper, and
he's got hooks for days. I fucking hate him for it.
This album, like in terms of like subject matter and different flows and just like dynamic creativity, is amazing. You just hear how much magic this guy has in him. And even I don't think any of the songs here rise to the level of those three, which I would consider his top three hits. Or even Vibing in This Bitch, which is kind of
oh, dude, that's also a good song, dude. Lil Big Pac was so good, and then I became aware of all the shit he was going through, and I had to stop listening to it, but it was so good.
It's so good. Yeah, so this is kind of this album's really good.
He's like we mentioned prior, a lot of it's like there's quite a bit of like pop sensibility on the whole tape. Like the hooks, like I mentioned earlier, really good. And I mean, and if you weren't privy to all of the legal things he's going through, I mean, you would really consider him a very introspective guy, because there's a lot of like pretty like personal content in the lyrics, and a lot of stuff about relationships. I mean, you texted me about Need a Break last week. I feel like I really got a sense of what you were feeling based upon how much you mentioned you liked that song.
Yeah, I mean, I like broke up with my girlfriend last week, and then this song, it was just like, it was very relatable. I mean, the line, you want me to stay on FaceTime and make these rhymes at the same time? Mm-hmm. It's so poignant. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to be a good artist and be in a relationship at the same time. That's like, something you hear over and over again. And it's hard, and it's, he's an artist and that's his job. And sometimes it's hard just to have a job and be in a relationship. Actually, that was part of what happened with my girl. She her job was a little taxing on her, mm-hmm. and the relationship was like taxing on like my state of mind. As he goes, he talks about you're fucking my whole summer up. I can relate to that like a lot. Yeah, that shit's hard. What are the other lines on that one?
Well, I feel like I got like a real sense of it based on like the intro, because he like talks about needing space, and like when it's time, he hopes that you're still around, and
which is a little like bullshit. I'm like, I want to break up with you, but hopefully you're still single in a couple of years,
Yeah. When I find myself when I'm bored.
Yeah. Well, and then he has the song after that is First Love, where he's talking about like looking at his ex-girlfriend's Instagram and being like, damn, you should roll through. It's kind of a sister song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love songs that are about like trying how hard it is to like work and maintain relationships. Like that's why I like Work a lot, the Rihanna song. You don't really get a lot of that in pop music. It's kind of like relationships are isolated. You never hear them in juxtaposition to work, Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, I was watching this episode of Grey's Anatomy with someone, and it was kind of like that. It was like they were talking about the Sandra Oh, one of the surgeons was like, would you give up love for surgery? And that was like the whole argument they were having throughout the episode. And then certain people chose love and certain people chose surgery. It's kind of like an interesting like topic of conversation that doesn't really come up in like pop music because it's kind of myopically about love, Mm-hmm. And then he talks about how hard he works on like, what is it, the Up All Night song? Up Late?
Oh yeah, you got to be up late, man.
Up late. And I mean, he talks about like on a break, you don't believe that I'm up late at the studio because you're accusing me of cheating. He repeats a few lines here. I actually like when rappers repeat lines because you can tell like none of it is like written for them, like mm-hmm. It's just like what their mind is doing at that time. Like Young Thug would repeat like a bunch of lines, like if you just follow his discography for a little while. Mm-hmm. What other songs stuck out to you? What did you think of the Roll in Peace with the other star of the episode?
Oh, it's probably one of the better songs on the tape, honestly, because his flow and the chorus is just, it's so good. Like I hadn't listened to it prior because of a soft boycott of Bodak Klack.
Same.
But the line where what does he say? He says, "You don't even believe in Jesus. Why you got a Jesus piece?" Yeah. Like I found myself saying that, like when I was like making dinner, like I would just say that line. And I mean, Tentacion's like, I don't know, it's just like, it's like a soup, like this weird like apologist bullshit in his verse. Mm-hmm. I kind of just tuned that out because I mean, I don't know, he's despicable as a guy, I feel like. So like I couldn't really take it seriously, but mm-hmm. It's super catchy. But
Kodak's output, like if you kind of get used to like trap music, it's going towards a different production template. I feel like it's a lot more introspective. Like the beat on Roll in Peace is kind of similar to Skirt Skirt, quieter melody, and more muted drums.
Yeah, starting with that track all the way up until probably even First Love, it's like the beats themselves are a little bit more somber and introspective, and it really kind of sets the tone, throughout that entire thing. I mean, I don't know if he was going through like a relationship issues, but I kind of noticed that was like a weird stretch, right, from between tracks 2 and like 7 or 8 even. Is that
we had those two back to back, Need a Break and First Love back to back. Is like, well, all right.
Yeah, like they're all rather deep. I was pretty taken aback by it.
Yeah, I mean, especially Misunderstood and Change My Ways. Those are kind of like dealing with fame and dealing with interviewers and stuff. I actually love Misunderstood. It's kind of like, partly I don't like it because he probably thinks about getting interviewed and being asked about his criminal background and all that, but he gets across like how he feels. He's good at conveying his emotions on that one. Wait, hold on, I gotta pee again. I don't know what's wrong with me.
God damn it. Incredible.
Now I don't know where I put my beer.
Yo, when you edit this, you'll probably hear me laughing like an idiot to this video that my friend sent me, who's also a Lil Pump enthusiast. But it's the name of the video is 5 Lil Pump songs played at the same time.
Yo,
we all good? We good to go?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I went to pee and then I forgot. I couldn't find my beer.
No problem. You'll probably hear me in editing this laughing and giggling to myself. So, well, my friend, you'll hear this twice because I thought you were still at your computer when I was explaining it. But my friend sent me a link to a video entitled 5 Lil Pump songs playing at once.
My Click is amazing. Do you like that one? It's the one where he's like the chorus is so crazy because he like has his mouth barely open, and then he's just like, and then he like opens it a little bit at the ends, and that's like the effect. It's like John Wicks, which I don't even know who is. I think John Wicks is one of the rappers on there.
Yeah,
which that's such a contemporary. He must have started rapping like last year or something.
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. His namesake's fucking awesome. Are you a fan of the John Wick series?
I saw one, but I got so high that I don't remember any of it. And actually, at one point, we were really high, and something happened, and we didn't understand it. And I think one of us was like, "All right, let's rewind it so we can see it again." And then we kept going back, and we went back like 45 minutes. And we watched like half the movie over again, and we still didn't get it because we were so in outer space.
Watching like Common roll for arm bars and get like collar grips and shit is pretty tight. It's super sick.
I do love how MMA is like penetrating movie fights.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because they realize it's like applicable and like you could use it in a street fight, you know, because I'm not going to be able to like Steven Seagal trap somebody's hands in the street, you know, and all that stuff.
Well, it's also like, I mean, but a lot of it is not applicable to one-on-one fights. I mean, at least a grappling.
Yeah. Well,
but I think they just like
I don't know. I mean, I haven't been in a street fight in a really long time, but now like my mindset is like I'm just gonna take this fucking guy down and choke him unconscious because I don't want to sustain damage. So that, I mean, it makes sense, but I guess like you're never gonna see dudes in the street like fighting for grips and sweeping dudes with like X guard sweeps and shit. So.
Right. I mean, well, maybe.
Or maybe I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, maybe martial arts will grow that people get really sophisticated with their grappling and street fights.
Oh, I'm sure here in Albuquerque.
The thing is, like, you don't want to like pull guard and then like the dude's friends beat you up,
No, yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I'm not trying to like, especially. I mean, I imagine in Albuquerque, like you trying to shoot like a power double or something like that wouldn't work because chances are that person trains or something of the sort. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, like in a group fight, yeah, I wouldn't want to like pull guard and like go for like a triangle choke or something like that, or try to break somebody's arm, but because you risk getting stomped the fuck out by his boys.
I'll watch it then. I thought the Ronda Rousey's arsenal in the Fast 7? I thought her moves were pretty well chosen.
I didn't watch that
people
one. Now that I think
you didn't watch the one with Ronda Rousey?
No, I watched the one with Gina Carano, though.
She was in a Fast movie?
Yeah, I think she was in the 6th one.
I don't think I remember her then.
Yeah, well, Ronda Rousey plays like she has like an awful accent, right? Like in that one?
She's like a bodyguard for like a Saudi prince or something. And then she like gets an armbar on someone and does some judo.
See, I feel like judo's pretty... You could apply it pretty well in the street, I feel like.
Judo was like the first like martial art that people were like, oh, he knows judo. He's a master or something, like in Star Trek, they used to train judo. That was
you
like,
don't know if I got a knife or whatever, that old adage.
that was Kirk's base martial art was judo, and he would pull it off on people. And also like Neil Adams' Batman comics, he'd always be training judo. And then there was this one issue that I read where he was just training, and then later on they he got sent through a trap door, the kind villains typically have, and he landed with like on his back and slapping the floor.
Oh wow!
I was like, damn.
How old are those comics?
Those are from the 70s.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so Batman was slap falling in the 70s, huh?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, Batman was a judoka in the 70s, which I feel like if they show him training, he'd probably be doing like kickboxing and like some jujitsu.
He'd be doing battle ropes.
He'd be doing maces.
Yeah. He might be an Eddie Bravo guy. He might think the earth was flat.
Put the rubber guard on Scarecrow or some shit.
So back to my click.
Yeah, my click. Yeah. Yeah, I guess those guys are in his crew. Are those the Sniper Gang guys? I don't even know.
Yeah, the Sniper Gang, yeah. The members of the Sniper Gang.
Yeah. He does a lot less Sniper Gang lines here. Like, compared to his other stuff, he's not like, we'll shoot you up like Halo, like the really silly lines about how you'll get shot in his hood. Like, there's not as much stuff like that on this record.
Yeah, there really isn't. Now that you mention that, now that I think back about it, there really is not at all. Yeah,
it's great. He gets more into his mindset and how he can't be shooting people now that he's rich, and his girl problems. Mm-hmm. It's really great. Yeah, it's a maturation. I hope he like kind of matches this introspection with more of with the ability that he had before to like just make those awesome, more like poppy songs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good observation there.
Yeah, I also wanted to talk about Pride.
Oh, I was actually about 14th to say song. That. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite song on the tape.
Really? Yeah. What do you? Well, yeah, it's kind of like the storytelling is great, and
yeah, it's like super introspective. It like takes into account a lot of I guess the internal struggles that one deals with when being married to the streets, if you will. And if anything, like the beat for it is like super somber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that the streets don't love nobody, but we stay true to the ethics. Mm-hmm. That's fucking awesome line. It's also a sister song to Letter from Institution. I think it's on Institution. It's the one where he's writing from he got a letter while in prison from one of his friends on the outside and just letting him know, and the guy is like grateful that he didn't tell on him, basically. They didn't rat on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pride, he's well, on this one, the kind of, even though he's in jail now, the theme of this album is that he's not anymore, and he's trying to stay clean and try not to be thugged out and do shit that'll jeopardize his wealth and his son that he just discovered. Now we know, obviously, that he didn't keep up with that because I think he's gone back since. Mm-hmm. But but this song is sort of from the perspective of someone who's on the outside, not even involved in like criminal activity anymore, but is, trying to tell his friends not to drop the dime on the other one. It's pretty like, it's really great to see that that thematic shift and that changing perspectives, and he can do it all. Like he can occupy like all these roles with like these great storytelling songs.
So I'm on the Genius page for that song, and that's funny. The main first comment is about that line that you read.
Yeah,
they quoted it and then added, "That's some real shit," which it is. That is some real shit.
That's a genius comment there. Mm-hmm. I have to go back and look at my old Genius account because I think I just commented on a bunch of Lil B songs.
And another notable track I wanted to mention as well was Transportin'. That's also pretty...
Yeah, that was kind of like one of the upbeat ones.
Yeah, and it's I don't know why, but I got like a real like Tupac Me Against the World vibe from this beat.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
For some reason I assumed he was from somewhere else, but in kind of researching him, I found out he was from Florida. Mm-hmm. It's just, what is it about Florida? Like...
Yeah, they got all the... It's a funky place,
Yeah. I mean, if
you look... the weird news stories and all the rappers.
It's always some Florida man or some Florida woman did this.
Florida rapper. There needs to be a Florida rapper, a Florida rapper Twitter account that's like, Florida rapper goes to jail, indicted on rape counts. Florida rapper accused of spousal abuse. Florida rapper violates his parole.
Yeah, like at this point, I'm just happy when rappers go to jail on gun charges now. It's like,
yeah.
I'm tired of seeing rappers getting in trouble for sexual abuse charges and all this other shit.
Meek Mill is doing 4 to 10, but it's just for violating his parole. So it's like we can still rock with that.
Yeah, it's like that sucks. It sucks because like he really does seem to have like in trouble with the law. I'm just happy.
That's for his fiance, Nicki Minaj. They're engaged, right?
I don't know if they still are.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You think she'll wait for him? Do you think Nicki is that kind of woman?
I mean, if she's real to the streets, she should be. She should stay with her man, but
the criminal justice system is fucked up.
That's a whole heavy topic for another episode, I guess.
Yeah, we should do one on rappers with non-problematic charges.
we could just do a whole episode dedicated to Bobby Shmurda. I just remember seeing the pictures of all the guns they found.
I mean, did Bobby Shmurda ever have like a mixtape that was good? Like,
yeah, he did. Yeah, it had the hot N-word. And then it had I know it had some other tracks on it, and I remember there was a song called Bobby Bitch that I liked.
Yeah, that was his like attempt at another hit, but I don't think that one hit as well.
And then I feel like you got a continuation of that style in Young M.A. because Ooh it was basically like the same beat as Hot N-word, if you will.
I gotta get into her. I mean, I've never listened. Have you listened to her tapes?
I have the last one that had Ooh and some other tracks on it, and
yeah,
I meant to give it a listen, especially after I saw her episode of The Therapist on Vice. Have you seen any of those?
No, what is that?
Well, it's like, a musical figure that sits in a chair and has like a mini therapy session.
Well,
Chief Keef has an episode, but he doesn't talk a whole lot. I mean,
yeah, I can't see him being very verbal.
Yeah, and so it's like it kind of falls flat because he just doesn't open up as much. But like Corey Taylor from Slipknot does one. It's pretty emotional. And so does Young M.A. And
Damn,
Waka
Young
Flocka
M.A. looks like my cousin. Hi, I have to pee again. I'll be right back.
Goodness, wow, you okay?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, sorry about that. You there? I think it was arguing with my friend. Because actually, whenever I'm on like first dates, I'm usually like nervous and I pee like a lot, and then I'm like, fuck, I know this person is like noticing this. One time I went to pee for like, the third time on a date, and I also happened to get a nosebleed while I was in there.
Holy shit.
So I took forever, and then I came out and I was like, you know what? I got a nosebleed, but I haven't been going to the bathroom because I'm doing coke or anything. Yeah. It's just I'm peeing a lot. That's it. And I also have bad sinuses.
Yeah, I once went on a date with this girl at this Thai restaurant. I for some reason asked them to make it Thai hot, and so throughout the course of like the whole thing, I ate the food and I was drinking all my water, and at some point started drinking all of her water. And then I had to pee a lot because I was drinking so much water. And needless to say, I never went out with that girl again.
Damn.
A big rapper from New Mexico was Broken Side. Are you familiar with Broken Side?
No.
Well, I'm giving you a homework assignment. I need you to investigate Broken Side's discography.
Okay.
They were one of the purveyors of like crunkcore, I believe was what it was called, or screamo rap.
You said this one of these Tentación songs reminded you of Broken Side.
Oh yeah, the one with all the screaming. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's called Gnarly Dudes.
Yeah. It's like I was pretty taken aback by that. I didn't know. Is that a new track?
No. So he has a lot of these tracks that are like kind of like super yelling, distorted, kind of hype tracks. Do you ever listen to Blackie from Houston?
No, I don't know.
Oh, he's awesome. He's like this like hardcore dude who like raps, and he self-produces all his shit, and it's very
it sounds like Death Grips is what you're saying.
Actually, like I mean, a lot of people say that Death Grips stole their whole stilo from this guy Blackie. He's like old school. I mean, he started putting out stuff in like 2008.
Well, you could attribute like Death Grip sounds to a lot of like older rap dudes. There was like a super experimental rap label that put out like Cloud Dead and shit. I can't remember the name, but that aside, that reminded me of a lot of Ghost Main tracks, who's also like an old, like he's like a hardcore dude, a metalcore guy that started like rapping.
Yeah, I kind of those so the Tentación stuff that I liked the most was the kind of like hardcore like scream rap that he was doing. He has a lot of those kind of tracks on his SoundCloud, and I think he could, if he had put his mind to it, he could put like a whole mixtape together in that sound. And I also liked the ones that are just have sort of breathy samples, and it's kind of him like rapping continuously. Like they all sound like like close to spoken word, but like it rhymes. It kind of sounds like when a rapper puts in like a really over emotional interlude in an album, and it's kind of like just them talking to someone. Cardi B does this in like one of her mixtapes. And like Kanye West like has a bunch of tracks like this. So yeah, but then the tracks that are a lot of the straight up rap tracks are kind of, you know, more conventional, especially when he has someone else on it. His personality kind of gets lost, and he sounds the most amateurish. Like he sounds like SoundCloud rapper, like just a guy with a mic, you know.
And that's how I sort of feel he comes across on the Bodak Klack track on Roll in Peace.
Yeah, compared to Kodak, he kind of comes off like an amateur, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned like the spoken wordish flows he has sometimes, because I didn't like him as a rapper, but when they posted all of like the freestyles from the freshman class like videos, the features that they had done, I found his to be the most interesting because he basically did that. And I don't know if the lines were from a recorded track, but I thought it was interesting, or at least the most interesting. But no, yeah, back to Tentacion's freshman freestyle. I mean, I thought it was one of the more interesting ones because it wasn't totally awful, but I mean, it's just that freshman class was real shitty. Like,
actually, yeah, I actually went to the freshman showcase because so this what happened. My Omar Rockness is a website that covers like Chicago, LA, and New York shows, and you can subscribe to certain artists, and they'll send you an email when they're performing. So they sent me an email and they said there's a new Playboi Carti show in New York at the PlayStation Theater. So I was like, great, awesome. So I went over there and I said, I want to go see the Playboi Carti show June 21st or whenever it was. And they said, the XXL freshman showcase? And I just went, oh, yeah, that. And I should have, you know, I should have gone back and thought about it a little bit or something. But I just said, yes, that's the one I meant. So I got the freaking ticket for the show. And so I went eventually, and the whole show, people are, Tentacion was off it because at one of the earlier showcases, he got snuffed and like knocked out. That's a video I mentioned earlier where I first heard of him. That was a XXL freshman showcase.
Oh shit! So the one he got punched by that Rob Stone dude's crew, was that show?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was at one of these shows, and he was taken off the tour, so he wasn't there. The whole show, people are so hyped for Carti. They were chanting his name in between sets. It was crazy. And then the show. So the host gets up and he says, "Hey, show's over, guys. Have a great night. Remember, buy Magnum condoms and drink this shitty vodka." Like, those were the two sponsors. And he didn't give us any of the vodka either, which is fucked up. They threw some condoms out, but they were Magnum, so I wasn't like trying to catch them or anything. And
now I just learned something about you,
sir. And yeah, Playboi Carti's not there. People started throwing stuff. I threw a couple water bottles at the stage. I looked it up afterwards, and no one put up a video like riot at XXL freshman showcase, which would have been tight.
So, but was he
on the bill, but they never announced that he wasn't going to be there. He had a family issue, so you know that's fine. But I actually had a sinus infection, so I felt like shit. I'm in this. I was trying to get as close as possible. I was moving up with every performance, and by the time Playboi Carti, by the time of the last set, which was a boogie, I was in the fourth row, just sweating my ass off in the middle of all these like teens, and I was feeling like shit, but I was like, all right, I gotta just be here for Playboi Carti, who's the only person I care about. And then he doesn't come out, and then I hadn't listened to Tentacion, so it turns out like I went to this stupid ass show and the two best rappers weren't even on it. Not that like I'd pay money to see Tentacion, but like at least he's probably the second most talented there. So that fucking show sucked.
Well, I mean, based upon the live performances I've seen, like especially the TRL performance,
Right. Yeah, I saw that too. That was awful.
You probably, yeah.
The Playboy
I
Cardi
don't think you're
TRL
missing out on
appearance,
much, because he's also another one of those guys that just has his entire backing track playing, and he's already he's already not as good. He's already not good, but the performance made it even worse.
Someone should offer, like, I don't know, like LL Cool J or someone. There's this great video of LL Cool J performing at a college in like the Northeast or something in the 80s, and he was such a good performer, and his banter. I mean, people like literally didn't. Most of the people at the show didn't even know what hip hop was. This is a video like Nas shared on Tumblr like years ago, and it's really great. I'll try to find it and maybe put it in the description. He's explaining what hip hop is to the crowd. He's getting them involved. He's doing a little call and response, which a lot of these like new rappers do, but they just do it out of like, they do it only as a crutch and as a way to be hype, which is, I mean, you can be hype, but also people are not there only to get hype. They're also there to see you perform. And, you're not performing if you're just like, oh, let's go. Like you can't have that on every song, which is actually, that was like every performance on this showcase was like, all right, I need to see everybody's hands. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, people would start jumping around and people were having fun. And I'm sure these, kids who've only listened to rap music on their laptops and don't really go to punk shows maybe, or they only go to like see, people they've heard of on the internet. They don't have the highest standards for performance. So
I'm sure it was a lot of people yelling "A" the whole time.
Yeah, basically. Hey.
Yeah, some of those shit.
There was some pitting, which is pretty cool, but it's hard if you don't know the words to like these rap songs. It's like, I don't want to pit.
They need to watch a Drake performance, because I've seen Drake, and he fucking kills it. He raps all of his lines, he sings all of his like hooks and choruses and stuff, and he's super energetic. And your boy is bodied up. He's a little swole.
Oh yeah. So So what do you think? Playboy Cardi and Lil Uzi Vert at Terminal 5, which I think is about 5,000 seat capacity. Jesus. Or 5,000 people capacity. $50.
That's rough.
Go or no?
Well, how much are you looking to get out of it? I'm sure it'll be an experience, but
I mean, I like both of them.
Yeah.
I really like both of them.
That tour was supposed to come here, but they recently just canceled the date. And I was going to go, mainly out of curiosity, but I don't know.
Do you know how much the tickets were going to be in Albuquerque?
Probably I think they were like $40. Probably upwards around the same thing, because Cardi hasn't come. No, he's come before as like an opener for A$AP Ferg, but he's since grown in popularity. They both have. I mean, they're pretty huge now. Well, Uzi.
I was arguing with my friend about how popular Lil Uzi Vert was, and I was telling him I see teens listening to his music on the subway all the time. Like, if there's any like black teen who's has his headphones over his hoodie, I just look and I know he's listening to Lil Uzi Vert, and I'm usually right. Like, that's how popular he is. And he was like, I don't know. And then I was like, EXO Tour Life has 500 million listens just on Spotify. It probably has like 2 billion on YouTube or something.
And he won like a VMA or something, right? Like an award on MTV.
Yeah.
I mean, and how like relevant that is I guess something else to be discussed. But he's fucking popular. I mean, EXO Tour Life is huge. Like, everybody, like so many people, like you wouldn't think that listen to rap have heard about it. Like, people I know that, they're the kind of people that tell you they like everything when you ask them what kind of music they like. I mean, even they like it, and it's like my little sister listens to Lil Uzi, and which is
so we'll see. It's in December. I'll have time to think about it. So let's wrap up the Tentación discussion.
On him. Well, I'm not, like I was saying earlier, I'm not like a big fan of him. Like, if his music didn't have any redeeming qualities for me, but I mean, with Kodak at least, it's super conflicting, because I like I like a lot of things that would be considered unsavory. I kind of liken my enjoyment of him to like a lot of enjoyment I have listening to a lot of like real sketchy black metal or sketchy power electronics. And when I say sketchy, I mean like, well, in regards to the black metal, it's like a lot of it's like a lot of nationalist, socialist black metal. But I enjoy it because it's real pleasing to the ear sonically. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things being done on a lot of those records. And when it comes to like the power electronics, it's a lot of the better, more like harsh acts I've heard are super like they're racially charged or politically charged, and I mean
So if we had to choose one, we would definitely choose Bodak Klack to be the one who doesn't abuse women. Yeah, I mean, for sure, yeah.
If I had to choose between women beaters, he would be the one I chose. Mm-hmm. That sounds awful, but that would.
But even after listening to this, like I said, I think Tentación of this last freshman class would be the second most talented to Playboy Cardi. Mm-hmm. Some of his songs, like, I mean, it's all scattered because that's the nature of being a SoundCloud rapper. Or maybe it's not scattered. Maybe it makes sense to the people who use SoundCloud as one of their main mediums of listening to music, whereas I use stuff I come across on Twitter and Spotify.
Well, you're probably where I think you and I are more accustomed to listening to like music in an album setting. Like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this podcast we can't. That's why the Tentación thing was hard because I couldn't be like, listen to this. I mean, the only album he has out is the one that's has like a lot of 17. Like alternative rock and shit. 17, yes, yeah. 17. And then the other album, Members Only, has a bunch of other rappers on it. So,
but that speaks to how their audience consumes music, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't encountered a 17 or 18-year-old that listened to albums in full. And when records and mixtapes are as long as they are, especially rap releases, when they're like 19 tracks long, I mean, I understand it's a bit of a chore. And at some point, listening to Project Baby 2 became a little bit overwhelming because it's like, holy shit, like this is the 12th track and I'm nowhere near being done. So, I mean, I think, like I was saying, I think it speaks to how people consume music these days, and maybe that works, but in this particular setting.
I was thinking about the incentives and everything too, in terms of Gucci Gang just charted. And the one interesting stat that people are sharing is that it's the shortest top 10 Billboard 100 song ever at, I think, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Which, now that we're counting streams instead of just buys, I think it would incentivize you to make shorter songs because then they can get streams more.
Yeah.
So if you really like Gucci Gang, you're like, fuck, this is my shit. I'm just going to put it on repeat. If you have a 2-minute song, you're going to get twice as many plays as if you have a 4-minute song.
But I guess I want to get your thoughts and how you cope with listening to and enjoying Bodak Klack.
I mean, so like I said, I did the soft boycott, and I mean, I don't know how it's just for your peace of mind that you're not supporting this shit. But I don't even know. Like, I really enjoy it, so I'm keeping like a little joy for myself. So I mean, I didn't feel any. I mean, when I was actually, like, you said you felt really conflicted because it was so good. I mean, when I listened to it, I feel like it's good, and I'm having a good time listening to it. I don't feel conflicted. I feel like the boycott and kind of stuff like that is, you just kind of like have to do it. I can pretty much, separate out like what the person does and what the art is about. I mean, because he is an amazing rapper, and also, I mean, I think he hits this threshold where he's so good that to deny yourself that would be, I mean, is not wrong, but
yeah,
you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a huge rap fan. Whereas listening to the XXX Tentación, my thought was that if there had never been any allegations against him, I would think he was super corny. He had really weird predilections toward this, like I really don't want to listen to a guy who's a rapper who seems to be like very influenced by Panic at the Disco,
I don't know, dude. Depending upon which Panic record you're talking about, it could be a good thing.
So, but like I said, I think he could put together a good mixtape of the like scream rap style, and
so he would be a juggalo rapper, essentially, is what you're saying. He could
yeah,
go well on Psychopathic Records.
I feel like the Juggalos would accept him for sure once he gets out. If he's in, I don't even know what. It's hard to keep track of the jail status. So I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I feel like as a community, if you want to call hip hop fans a community, like we should. I mean, I was surprised that like when I was digging through the Spotify, I saw that Cardi B did a remix. Had Kodak Black on the Bodak Yellow remix, which I don't know. I thought she was woke and shit.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, she's also said like a lot of weird, like problematic things. Yeah. But I mean,
well, they're on the same. They're both on Atlantic. They're on the same label.
Well, I don't know. And like when going through this, I kind of went through like I replayed a lot of weird conflicting things I have with specific artists and what have you. I thought about the controversy surrounding the Bad Brains and a lot of the weird like Rastafarian things they input on their last few records regarding homosexuality and just overall like how I or like my relationship with Woody Allen movies or any like Polanski films. I mean, I don't know, it's just like as far as the Woody Allen stuff goes, it's like I enjoyed all of these before I was even aware that there was an issue. Like I just didn't know.
Right. I mean, same.
And that's how it was with Kodak, at the beginning is like I enjoyed all his stuff, but I just didn't know he had a history of violence.
Yeah. I mean, one of my least favorite tropes of in this era when people get found out is people going back and saying that the artist is really mediocre and they were being held up because of I don't know, sexism, whatever. Like people saying that Louis C.K. is mediocre and they're glad he's gone. It's like he's not. He's one of the best comics in the world. It's not like you can't just decide he's whack because of this or that. And I think Kodak is like undeniable in that way too.
You know what's fucked up? And it's funny that when you bring up Louis C.K. is like that TV show he did that he funded himself was being lauded as like one of the best pieces of like comedy or just like a sitcom in some time. And now I've seen a lot of like weird like revisionism. Now it's like, it's always been shit. It's like, I don't know. I've enjoyed his shit. It's just he was a scumbag.
Well, I mean, especially you can't come out after the scumbag stuff comes out and say, well, yeah, I still like Louis, because people don't want to really hear that right after this comes out. So you can only hear the negative stuff. But just taking it just purely for art's sake, Kodak is amazing. Tentación is he's a really talented, pretty charismatic guy. His sensibilities are super corny, but that can be interesting too. Someone who's so in their fucking head that they can't express themselves like a normal human being. The intro to 17 is so weird. He says like, if you're gonna be in my head for the next 20 minutes, if you can't handle that, you better turn this off. It's like,
oh god, that's so incredibly cool.
No one wants to be in your head. They just want to hear some songs, So
oh god, that's awful. He's whack. He fucking sucks.
It's like,
oh god, dude, that's some fucking scene bullshit. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So that's been the problematic rapper roundup. From now on, we're doing non-problematic people only.
Yeah, unless somebody else comes out, and I'm like, well, I guess here we are.
Or maybe we could do an I don't know. I feel like we'll discover. It seems like it's a trend that people are getting more and more problematic, and we're learning more and more about everyone.
You know what? I watched a video of Lil Pump doing an interview alongside Smoke Perp where he talks about hitting a girl at school. And he's like, yo, I was like in 9th grade or 8th grade. And I punched this girl and I kept slapping her because she was a stupid bitch or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay, well, that was when he was younger. And then I remembered, holy shit, he's only 16. Well, at the time he was only 16. You know?
Right.
So it wasn't that long ago, and I was like, God,
he talks about that on his songs too. It's like slap a bitch because she's acting extra, something like that. Next week we're talking about we're doing the Charlie XCX #1 Angel next week. She's a woman of color, so that's anti-problematic.
Is she really?
Solutionmatic. Yeah, she is. I was like looking at the cover art and I was like, wait, she's like brown. And then she's British, so I just assumed she was Indian. So I just Googled Charlie XCX Indian, and then, stuff came up where she was like dealing with like racist tweets and stuff like that. Yeah, she's Indian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah,
not that.
I mean, her music is very like, race neutral. It's like there's nothing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like.
But she's
shallow pop.
She's definitely taken a weird turn. Like, we can discuss that next week. But I've always liked her.
Yeah, I had never listened to her before, and then someone posted this album comparing it to Carly Rae Jepsen's Emotion.
That's a bold comparison because Emotions is fucking good.
So you haven't listened to #1 Angel yet. I think #1 Angel might be with the Playboy Cardi tape and maybe Project Baby 2, but I won't put that on my official list. But some of my favorite releases from this year. I'm pretty sure #1 Angel was from this year. Let me see.
I think it was from early this year.
Yeah, so I think it's amazing. And actually I couldn't get into Emotion, so that's just me.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, #1 Angel from 2017.
Her B-sides record, Carly Rae Jepsen's B-sides record, is also really good.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's get into #1 Angel next week, and
thanks.
Tight.